everyone, my name is Julie and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing my experience having a miscarriage. It's a very sensitive topic. It's something that is very personal, that I haven't shared with a whole lot of people except for the people that knew I was pregnant, which were a very few amount of people. I just wanted to share my experience for anyone who is curious or is going through a miscarriage. Because when I found out I was going to have a miscarriage, I was looking at videos on what it's like, other people's stories, videos on the procedure that I had, which I'll get into. But before I get into the heavy stuff, I'm going to introduce myself a little bit. So my name is Julie, obviously, and I am 23 years old. And me and my husband Adrian, who's also 23, have been married for a little over a year and a half. We got married on August 18th of 2018, and we have a little boy who's 1 named Leo. He turned 1 on January 30th. I'll probably be making more videos about us, Leo, his birth story, stuff like that. But I really wanted to share this video because it's recent. I just wouldn't feel right making other videos without explaining this because it's a big part of my life right now. So let's get into the heavy stuff. Just a warning, it might be a little TMI, a little personal, so you're warned for that. I'm not gonna leave out details because it's important to share those details for people who are curious, because I know that I would want details shared. So it's not going to be like gory or anything, but there will be TMI stuff that I will be talking about. Let's get started into the story. So we decided when Leo was born, like a few months after he was born, because I was not thinking about having other kids when he was born, because you don't when you are having a newborn, because it's a lot. But we decided that we want to have our kids close together, so we decided probably at like a year we'd start trying again, or trying to have a baby again. Because I had a C-section with Leo, which I will explain in a whole nother video because that's like a whole story in itself. And so the doctor told me to wait at least a year before I get pregnant again, so you can heal and like, let your uterus rest and stuff like that. So yeah, so we decided, okay, we'll visit this subject in a year and see how we feel. So we decided, yeah, let's do it. So in November, I decided to get off birth control so my body could regulate and just get the birth control out of its system before we started trying to have a baby. So I'm pretty sure I ended it around Thanksgiving because I think I was on my period during Thanksgiving. And then I got my period on December 19th. And then so after that we decided, okay, let's start trying now. So we started trying, and the whole first few weeks of January, I felt super weird. And if you've been pregnant before, you kind of can tell pregnancy symptoms. And I was feeling really pregnant at the time, and I was like, oh my gosh, if I'm not pregnant, I don't know what's wrong with me. But then I also thought, I was like, maybe I'm just in my head thinking I am pregnant and giving myself these symptoms. January 17th rolls around, and I was supposed to get my period, I think, on the 16th. And so I decided to take a pregnancy test because I was late by a day, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna take one now, because I had taken 2 previously in the month, and they were both negative, obviously, because it was way too early. And so I took a pregnancy test, and it was like a dollar store cheap one, and I was like, it's not gonna be positive, like I'm not pregnant, like whatever. And I took it, and then there was like a super faint line. I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'm pregnant. And so I went and got like a first response, and it was definitely like, yes, you're positive, it's positive, you're pregnant. We were so excited. We told our family that night, like Adrian's parents and his siblings, they were over, and we told them. And we told like one of Adrian's best friends that came for Leo's birthday party, and I told my best friend, and we were just expecting to have a baby in September. I had like my known pregnancy symptoms. I was a lot more nauseous with this pregnant with my miscarriage than I was with Leo. I never threw up with Leo, but I was nauseous like every day, but I didn't feel like I was gonna like actually throw up every single day. But with this one, I felt like when I got nauseous, it was like I'm gonna throw up, but I never did. But that's how it felt. It felt like that kind of nauseous. And my sense of smell is always crazy when I'm pregnant. It was crazy with Leo, and it was crazy this time. And I was just so tired. But there would be days where it would like come and go. Like one day I'd feel normal, like just tired and like my smell, but no nausea. And then other days I'd feel so sick, but it just depended. It was weird. And then around 7 weeks, my symptoms kind of stopped. I wasn't nauseous anymore. I was still tired and stuff, but my nausea completely went away. And I was like, oh, maybe it's just gonna be done now, because I was done being nauseous like every single day with Leo around 9 weeks. So I was like, maybe this is how it's gonna be this time. I had my first doctor's appointment on, I think, the 12th. It was a Wednesday, February 12th. It was the Wednesday before Valentine's Day. And I went in, it was just normal. I peed in a cup, and they ended up doing an ultrasound. I did not get an ultrasound with my first appointment with Leo, but I did this time. And they had like the little wheelie, like little ultrasound machines. And so they took that, and they did a transvaginal ultrasound. The nurse practitioner showed me the screen, and the baby just looked like a little tiny dot. It was like kind of a blob. The quality was really not that great, so it was kind of hard to see. And at that appointment, they didn't see a heartbeat, but they're just like, maybe it's the quality. You know, your baby's really tiny, and the baby was measuring like on time. It was like 7 weeks and 3 days, and I was like 7 weeks and 5 days, and there's always room for error with an ultrasound machine. So they're just like, don't worry about it too much. You can schedule to have a better ultrasound, like an actual radiology place. So I did that, and I was like, oh, I'm not too worried. I'm gonna make it for like a week away. She's like, you can do it for like 2 days or whatever if you want to find out sooner. And so I was like, I wasn't worried. I kind of wish, because I went to the radiology place the next day, and I could have gotten in on Valentine's Day, and I kind of wish that I would have, because I would have found out sooner. But I waited for that following Friday, which was the 21st, and I had my doctor's appointment and that following Wednesday. So a week from my doctor's appointment, I started spotting. And I was like, okay, well, maybe it wasn't like a lot. It was just like brown light spotting. And I was like, maybe I'm just gonna spot with this pregnancy, because I know that you can spot with pregnancy and it could be totally normal, especially in early pregnancy. And so I just kind of like let it be, just like in my head, didn't tell anybody for the entire day. Then I woke up from a nap with sleep around 5 o'clock. And as a woman, you know that feeling when you're bleeding. And so I had that feeling, and I went to the bathroom, and there was more. It wasn't a lot, but there was some more spotting, and there was actual red blood this time. And so I was like, oh no, okay. So I went downstairs, and I told my mom. I was like, Mom, I'm like bleeding. My husband was at work at this point. So I was like, I'm gonna call my doctor and just see like what I should do, because I have no idea. And so it was after hours, obviously, so I called the after hours line, and I talked to the on-call doctor, and she's like, just go into the emergency room and get checked out, get an ultrasound, see what's going on. She's like, I had bleeding in my first pregnancy, so it could be nothing, but just go get checked out and see what's going on. I was like, okay. And now at that point, I was crying because I was nervous, and I was crying on the phone to her, and it was a little embarrassing, but you know, it is what it is. It's an emotional thing to go through. We went to the emergency room. I told my husband to come home, and we left the house about 7. We live like an hour away from the hospital that we chose to go to, because this is a hospital that my doctor practices at, and everything is where we had Leo. So it was about an hour drive, so we got there a little bit later, and it took a while to get seen to. The emergency room as always takes forever. It's annoying, but it does. And I just felt like I was gonna get sick being in there. I was like, oh, because there's sick people. And this was before all the virus stuff started happening, but it was still like talk of the virus, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get the coronavirus. So we got taken back, and the doctor came in a little bit later and did a pelvic exam, and she's like, your cervix isn't opened, but you have a little bit of dry blood, but you're not like actively having a miscarriage right now. So she's like, we're gonna get an ultrasound to see what's going on, check on your baby. And so they ordered an ultrasound, and I sat there and waited forever for that ultrasound. And I had to pee so bad, but they want you to hold your bladder and have a full bladder because they do like a belly one too when in early pregnancy, and they want you to have a full bladder, which is so uncomfortable because it hurts so bad when they press on your stomach. She came in and she was pressing on my stomach, and I was like, oh, like trying to hold my pee, and I was like, I'm gonna pee everywhere, like this hurts so bad. Like, it was so uncomfortable. And so she let me go to the bathroom after that, thankfully. She did the transvaginal, and the ultrasound tech was like, I don't see a heartbeat. I haven't seen one this whole time that I've been doing the ultrasound. And I was like, what? Okay. Like, I feel like ultrasound techs aren't supposed to tell you things like that. I could be wrong, but I was like, oh, okay, what does that mean? And she's like, we're gonna get these images sent off to the radiology doctor or whatever to read them and diagnose you. She left the room, and I started crying. My husband started crying. We were just crying messes for like a few days, especially me. But I was still hopeful for some reason. I was like, maybe it's like maybe there's a mistake. Like, maybe my baby's fine. The doctor came back in and said, yes, your baby doesn't have a heartbeat. It looks like you're gonna miscarry the baby. My ER doctor, I was so thankful for her because she was very compassionate. She's like, you didn't do anything wrong, because it's not your fault for having a miscarriage at all. It's not. It's just something was wrong genetically with the baby or something else, and it's out of your control. So that's just how you have to think. But it's still really hard regardless. So we went home, cried the whole way home, tried to eat In-N-Out, couldn't even eat In-N-Out. I hadn't eaten since lunch, and I couldn't eat. I wasn't hungry. And we went home, it was like midnight, and me and Adrian just got in bed with Leo, and we just all snuggled and fell asleep. And then the next morning I woke up, and I called my doctor, because that's what the ER doctor told me to do. Because there are options when you are having a miscarriage. The three options are, you can either pass the miscarriage on your own. If it's going to take a while for you to pass that miscarriage on your own, there's a pill that you can speed it up with. And then there's also a procedure called a D&C, where they go in through your vagina, through your cervix, and get all of the stuff out of your uterus. I was leaning towards having a D&C just so I could get it over with, because I just didn't want to do the other two options. So I called the doctor, and I talked to like the on-call nurse or whatever that would talk to the doctor for me, and they decided that it was probably good for me to get the D&C, so they scheduled that D&C for the next day, which was Friday, which was the day that I was supposed to have my ultrasound. And so I had to cancel that. I was like, yeah, I need to cancel it because I'm having a miscarriage. And the receptionist was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was like, it's fine. But it's just so awkward to tell people that you're having a miscarriage. That's why I understand why people kind of wait. But honestly, I'd want to tell my family right away, because they're your support system. The Thursday day, I was bleeding a little bit. Wasn't too bad. I started cramping a little, and there's this pain that the best way that I could describe this pain is a shooting pain up into your cervix. It's just like a straight shooting pain up into your cervix, and I don't know how else to describe it. I don't know what it's doing, but that's a pain that I had. And it hurts. And so I was getting that around, like, randomly throughout the day. I was thinking maybe it's like my cervix dilating. I'm not sure. Thursday night rolls around, and I was sitting at the dinner table trying to eat dinner, and I got that shooting pain in my uterus. I could feel my uterus squeezing. So I was like, oh, this hurts really bad. I need to go to the bathroom. And so I went to the bathroom, and stuff started coming out, just a little bit, not a lot, but stuff started coming out, and you can feel it kind of out of your cervix. You can, like, actually feel it, which is an interesting feeling. We were trying to put Leo to bed, and I gave him a bath and everything, and I was sitting in this chair while Adrian was getting him dressed, and I was literally sitting here, like, pushing off the chair because I was in so much pain. So I was like, I'm going to the bathroom again. Can you please put Leo to bed? Because I usually do it. And so I went to the bathroom, and I sat in the bathroom for a very long time. That was my whole night. I was in the bathroom, in and out of the bathroom all night long. And this was around 7. And so more stuff just came out, and every time I had that contracting feeling and the sharp pain in my cervix feeling, I was like, I need to go to the bathroom. And so Leo was having a really hard time sleeping that night, which was fantastic. Just a great night to not be sleeping. I was like, okay, I'm gonna lay down with him and try to get him to go to sleep and yada yada yada. And so, but I couldn't even lay down. I was literally on my bed, like on my forearms, bent over on my bed. I couldn't even stand up straight from how painful this was. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but it is very painful. It's not a pleasurable experience at all. At least for me, it was painful. So I couldn't stand up. And so I was like, I need to go to the bathroom, Adrian. Like, you need to lay here with Leo. Like, I can't do this. I need to be in the bathroom. And so I went to the bathroom, and I sat there forever. And I literally couldn't even, like, it hurt to just sit there. Like, I was like rocking back and forth, like grabbing my lower stomach, holding on to the countertop. Like, it hurt so bad. I was crying. I was in so much pain. And I was like, I just need to make it till the morning. Like, I just need to make it to my procedure, because it will be done, it'll be over. Like, I just want it to be tomorrow, and just get this over with. It's just kind of the mindset. It's like, there's nothing you can do in that point to stay pregnant, or to keep this baby. The baby's gonna come out, and it is what it is. It's nothing you can do about it. So it's like, I just want it to be done, and start over. So I was in the bathroom most of the night, and around 10 o'clock I laid down and tried to get some sleep, and I was laying there, and I kind of think I fell asleep for a little bit, but I got that urge again to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, and as soon as I sat down on that toilet, it's TMI, get ready, I had a huge clump fall out. Okay, a huge clump. Like, it was big. I couldn't see it in the toilet, and I did not grab it out of the toilet, because that's just not me as a person. If you want to look at your miscarriage, that's great. I kind of wish that I did at this point, but in that moment I did not have the reaction to grab it. And I couldn't really see it because there's a lot of blood in the toilet as well. But after I passed that clump, I felt relief. I didn't have cramps. My bleeding kind of slowed down, and so I went to bed, and I fell asleep, and I slept through the night, and I woke up, and I didn't have any more cramping, not that much bleeding. And so we went to my procedure. I went into, like, the little patient area where they get you in your gown, and there's a whole bunch of patients in there at the time, but there's curtains dividing you at my hospital. And I got my gown on, they got my IV in, they took blood. I was telling the nurse, I was like, I passed a lot of stuff last night. I was just trying to tell people, because I don't know if, like, I needed to get an ultrasound again to make sure that I still needed this procedure. they just wheeled me down to another little holding area where it's like you wait with one more person, divided again, but you wait there for surgery. I saw the nurse that was going to be helping my doctor. And I told her again, I was like, I passed a lot of stuff last night. And they were just like, oh yeah, like, I'm so sorry. Like, I was like, I'm not trying for you to feel bad for me. I just want to tell you this. Like, I didn't say this out loud, but I was like, I was just trying to tell them. And then my doctor came in and I told her, I was like, I passed a lot of stuff last night for the third time. I told someone, and she's like, oh, we should get you an ultrasound to make sure that you still need this procedure. And I was like, I tried telling everybody that I could that I had passed a lot of stuff last night, okay? Because I thought that I was probably gonna have to get another ultrasound. But maybe I should have spoken up about that. But like, if that happens to you, say that you should maybe get an ultrasound. But we almost missed my surgery because we had to get an ultrasound, and but we made it to get my surgery. And she was like, yeah, there's still more tissue in there, so we're just gonna go in there and get the rest of it out, because you're gonna have to pass the rest of it anyway, so we're gonna get it out. We went back, they put me under, and I woke up and I was in the recovery room and I just started crying, and the nurse was like, oh, it's okay, like, it's normal to cry. And I was like, I don't even know why I'm crying right now, like, why am I crying? But it is an emotional thing to go through, and your emotions are heightened from drugs. So, and then there was this other nurse in there, which I thought was funny. She came up to me and she's like, oh, she like talked to me about something that I don't remember, and she's like, you're so beautiful. And I was like, thanks, like, through my tears. And I was like, it's like, I know that I'm probably not beautiful right now, but she's just trying to be nice, probably trying to make me feel better. And it was really nice. But I was like, what? So my husband came back and I was feeling better at that point, wasn't crying anymore. And then we got to go home, and I just took it easy for the rest of the week. Or yeah, pretty much the week I kind of took it easy. At the end of the week I kind of got back to normal, but I couldn't pick up Leo for a little while. I think I waited like a week until I picked him up again. And then I had my doctor's appointment, and she said everything's good. I can start trying to have a baby again, but wait until I get my period again so it's easier to track. And I did get my period again. It did take a little bit of time to come back. I think it took me like 36 days from like the start of my miscarriage to getting my period. I tracked it, but I got it, and that was fine. But like a week after my DNC, I passed like another little piece of tissue, but the doctor said that's fine. There's probably just something left in there. But one thing that I have noticed that happened after my miscarriage is I started having hair loss, like postpartum hair loss. If you've ever been pregnant or had postpartum, you lose your hair, and that's happening right now. I don't really know about that, but yeah. So anyways, that is my story. There's not really much else to tell. I'm doing great now. Mentally, I feel like I did okay. I thought I'd be a lot more emotional about it, but honestly, there's nothing you can do. It's sad, but the only thing I can do is move on. So yeah, I hope this helped someone going through it or just curious about it. And I hope that you guys stay tuned. I'm going to be making more videos about my family life and mom life and everything like that. So subscribe if you would be interested in seeing those videos, and I hope to see you guys soon. Thank you so much.